Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who bring us all of the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Virginia clam production is tops in the nation. It's time to harvest pumpkins, and we visit the heart of Virginia apple country in our county agricultural close-up.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia. Home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Belvedere Plantation in Spotsylvania County, where they're ready for fall. And we'll be visiting a pumpkin patch later on in the show. But first, aquaculture is a vital part of Virginia's farm economy. Dave Miller takes us to the Eastern Shore to show us more.
The Virginia shellfish industry generated $53.4 million in sales in 2017, and the center of it can be found on the Eastern Shore. Wild harvested clams and oysters are still an important part of the supply chain, but today more of these mollusks are carefully raised near Willis Wharf by a handful of family businesses like the H.M. Terry Company.
Our clams have been farm raised and hatchery produced by us and are about 3.5 years old. Now we've harvested them, their final harvest, before they reach the end consumer. So we're going to wash them, grade them, count them, pack them, and get them prepared for shipping.
The shellfish industry in Virginia is very strong. Virginia, as of last year, was leading the nation in hard clam production. We are located on a very specifically pristine body of water. Our creek, Parting Creek, which you can see sort of behind us, goes out to the Great Machipungo River, which leads into Hog Island Bay.
The clams are raised out in Hog Island Bay because of the perfect water conditions. There are no freshwater rivers or streams, just saltwater, and the tide rises and falls an average of 6 to 7 feet twice a day, bringing in fresh water to grow the crop.
Currently, we're growing somewhere around 75 to 80 million clams a year for market. Here in Willis Wharf, where there are 4 clam producers right here on Parting Creek, we actually hatch. Our hatcheries hatch probably better than 90% of all the farm clams grown in the United States right here on this little creek.
Unlike oysters, which are grown in cages, clams are seeded right into the bottom and are covered with nets to protect them from predators like the cow-nosed ray. The nets are kept clean, and the clams actually dig down several inches into the soil at different times of the year. It can take 3.5 years or more to raise clams from seedlings to maturity. Like farming on land, a lot depends on Mother Nature. Only with shellfish, you can't see how your crop is doing until it's time to harvest.
Shellfish aquaculture is one of the few things that is truly a green process. It's very sustainable. We're putting animals into the water that actually clean the water as they grow. And then when we take them out, we're not affecting any of the wild stocks. We're actually taking pressure off of the wild stocks. So it's something that you can really feel good about. We're growing food for people to eat in a very sustainable way, which is really cool, I think, and it is one of my favorite things about what we do.
While clams are raised in sheltered bays on the Eastern Shore, oysters are typically raised in cages right along the Atlantic Ocean coastline. Both industries take advantage of the shore's clean environment to mimic nature's growth process. The folks that raise them say there's nothing better than fresh Virginia clams and oysters, or both.
You shouldn't be afraid of eating seafood. I mean, at the very least, cook it, and then that will kill any bacteria that would be there. But if you like raw shellfish, know where it comes from, know who it came from, and how long it's been out of the water. and then go for it.
A lot of expensive equipment and labor go into the process of bringing these tasty mollusks to market. So after years of seeding, raising, sorting, and shipping are finished, Brian Terry says it's gratifying to see a financial return on their investment. The aquaculture industry also is a vital part of this rural region's economy.
This part of Virginia is a very well-kept secret. It's a tiny peninsula that at its widest point is 7 miles wide. You know, where we're standing down at the southern tip of the county, it's maybe a half mile to a mile and a half wide, and going all the way up to the Maryland, Delaware part of the shore, it just keeps growing and growing. It's a very fertile ground on land and on water. It provides enormous amounts of jobs for all types, from farmers to aquaculturists, from crabbers to fishermen to horticulturists to bird watchers to tourism. Every facet of country living is seen here on the eastern shore of Virginia.
Virginia's eastern shore is a wild and beautiful place to visit, and you can't find fresher seafood anywhere else. The aquaculture industry here makes all that beauty and great food possible. On Virginia's eastern shore, this is Dave Miller.
Virginia shellfish farmers and watermen lead the nation in hard-shell clam production with sales of $38.1 million in 2016. They also lead the East Coast in oyster production with sales of $18.5 million that same year. Hundreds of Virginians are employed in the shellfish industry, and the ripple effects of those sales support rural economies throughout the Chesapeake Bay region. The Virginia Oyster Trail allows fans of the tasty bivalves to travel to 16 different regions of the state and enjoy the delicate differences in taste of wild and farm-raised oysters.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about pumpkins from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
Farm Bureau is the insurance provider of choice for farmers. But did you know all Virginians can benefit? In fact, most of our members are not farmers. As a member, you are supporting worthy causes like local Virginia food banks and the Ag in the Classroom program. Your $40 membership will easily pay for itself with the many savings options as well. Farm Bureau is made for Virginians. To learn more about the membership advantage, go to vafb.com or visit your local Farm Bureau.
It's pumpkin time. Have you ever thought about growing these popular plants in your own garden? Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extension talks with an expert about growing pumpkins from the ground up.
Well, hi and welcome. Today we're in Dinwiddie County, Virginia. We're at Adams Acres, a large commercial fruit and vegetable farm. We're here with Mr. Todd Adams, the owner and operator here, and we're going to be talking about pumpkin production. Now, Todd, you all grow a lot of things, but I know you grow this time of year a lot of pumpkins. Is that something maybe a home gardener might be interested in trying to grow?
Yes, this will be something kind of fun to try and grow, especially if you have children.
Yeah, kids really love it, especially as we're moving towards Halloween, which we are now, and I know a lot of your fields have been picked already. Yeah. So when you're thinking about planting pumpkins, when do you guys normally plant?
We normally plant around the end of June.
So once that soil temperature is up?
Yep, soil temperature up.
Now, how long does it take pumpkins to grow? Because in June, are they going to be ready too early or too late?
Depends on the variety. Anywhere from 80 to 120 days, they should be ready.
They should be ready. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And you guys plant on long rows in the field. A home gardener, maybe, how would they plant?
They just plant them in the garden after they finish whatever they have, like snaps or something early on. Then they could plant pumpkins and follow up with that.
Okay. Do they need to be in mounds or flat ground?
They don't have to be. It would help to be in mounds to help keep them from drowning.
Drowning. Okay. So I know that there's lots of different types of pumpkins, and some of them need a lot of space, some need a little bit of space. Maybe we can go to the field where you've picked and maybe see some of the spacing over there. Well, Todd, I know this is the end of the season. Almost all the pumpkins are out of here, so that's why these plants kind of look like this. Now, as far as spacing, how much spacing do you have in these rows between the pumpkins?
We have about 6 to 8 foot spacing between the pumpkins. This really depends on the variety of pumpkin and how large the pumpkin is.
Okay, so a smaller one wouldn't need nearly that much space.
No, those you plant a whole lot closer together than a larger pumpkin.
I got you. And how about irrigation? I know you've got a special kind of drip irrigation here. What would a home gardener use? Do they need a lot of water?
They don't need a lot of water, but they need water, and the main thing is you don't want to get them too wet, like wet late in the evening for disease purposes, but a soaker hose or anything like that would work well for a home gardener.
Kind of keeping the water off the leaves, probably.
Yeah, to keep the plant itself dry.
I got you. Now you've got one here. How do you harvest one of these things? What would somebody be doing if they harvested this?
Usually we just cut and leave the handle as long as possible without cutting the vine, and that just like that.
So what's new with your pumpkins this year? I know you've got some really cool things here. What kind of different ones are you growing?
Well, the different one this year is the warty pumpkin, and it's kind of new. Some people like them, some people don't. It's just kind of a specialty thing.
Right. What about these? You've got some white ones here?
Yeah, we have some white pumpkins, then we have gourds, and these are like goblin eggs. And some people like those for decoration. Then we have the little mini pumpkins and winged gourds. It's all kinds of varieties to get now.
So many different things that so many probably like and have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, it's just more of a decoration, fun thing. And a lot of kids like to paint, take the little ones and paint them instead of carving them.
Sure, gotcha. Well, Todd, thank you so much for letting us come out today and see what you're growing. We really appreciate it.
All right, thanks for coming.
Well, for more information about pumpkin production, contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener. From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu. Virginia apples taste great fresh, baked, or fried. Chef John Maxwell shows us how to make apple fritters next in the heart of the home.
And now, a sneak peek into a day in the life of a Virginia dairy cow. They get their day started. They have some lunch. Get some exercise. Spend time with their friends. And then end their day with dairy sweet dreams. Real dairy, real life, real delicious.
Fall's not just for pumpkins. We've got Virginia apples to enjoy as well. Chef John Maxwell has a recipe for homemade apple fritters with Virginia peanuts in the heart of the home.
Hi, and welcome to the heart of the home. I'm John Maxwell, and we're here at Meadow Hall in Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, where every week we get a chance to play with some great Virginia food. Today, we're going to play with some apples. I've got a beautiful Granny Smith apple here. I've got more that's chopped up there. They come from the western part of the state, out near Winchester. It's going to be a great fritter. Apple and peanut fritter. So I've got some flour in here. I'm going to add some sugar to the flour. All right. Got about a half a cup of sugar. I got some salt and baking powder that's going in there. I've got a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, and the recipe will be up on the website, so you'll be able to go up and get the exact measurements here. All right. So I'm going to mix those dry ingredients together really good. All right. I was reminded I didn't put salt in when I said salt, so I got the salt in. All right, now I'm going to add the eggs. This is the first of the wet ingredients. All right, these are lightly beaten eggs, just kind of mixed up. I don't want to get a lot of air in them. All right, it's 2 eggs, and I'm going to mix those around. All right. And now I'm going to add some apple cider. Okay, mixing this up a little bit. Now I'm going to add some oil to that. Get it mixed good. Okay, I added a half a cup of milk, right, and I'm going to add in chopped peanuts and some chunky peanut butter. And I'm going to mix all of this together. And get it nice and smooth. Well, I'm going to add the diced apples. And then just fold this. So we got peanuts, apples, and all the ingredients that are necessary to make it a wonderful fritter. At the end, I need to add a little bit of butter. I got this all melted. Now stir that in. All right, it's perfect texture. Now we're ready to add this into the fat. And we're going to take a little bit, just drop it down in. A couple of spoonfuls. We don't have to worry about making them nice and smooth. If you got one of those little ice cream type scoops, you can make it nice and round, but they're still going to pop out a little bit and get some edges. So it's still going to look a little rough. Put that over there. I'm ready to pull them out now. So I've got apple fritters. Apple and peanut fritters. Put them out on the towel to drain off a little bit of the fat. And I've got them over here dusted with powdered sugar. It's apple peanut fritters. Great Virginia food, easy and quick to make. Join us next week on Heart of the Home, where we get a chance to play with some great Virginia food.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Maxwell's website at chefjohnmaxwell.com. Apples rank 16th among all Virginia farm products in 2019, with an approximate $37 million in sales. Apple orchards are found on 687 farms in the Old Dominion. Most apples are raised in southwest Virginia, the northern Piedmont region, or the Shenandoah Valley. 40 years ago, Virginia's commercial apple industry was centralized in Winchester, where packing plants shipped fresh fruit and bottled apple juice. Today, those plants still operate, but other producers have their own packing houses. And orchard owners have branched out into pick-your-own operations and even creating their own hard cider to increase profits.
Apples are one of Virginia's best-known crops, but as Burke Muller tells us in this week's County Agricultural Close-Up, apples are just one reason why Frederick County continues to be an important farm community.
Frederick County is as far north as you can go in Virginia. Formed in 1743 with the splitting of Orange County, it is considered part of the Northern Virginia-Washington metropolitan area. While it was named for Prince Frederick, son of King George II, now it's known as Apple Country because it has more apple orchards than any other community in the state. John Marker is part of a long tradition of Frederick County families involved in agriculture.
I'm a fourth-generation farmer here. The farm has been in the family for about 110 years. We do mainly apples, and we also do some peaches, pears, plums, and vegetables for our farm market here.
Marker runs Marker Miller Orchards and does direct retail at the family's farm market outside of Winchester, an independent city inside the county.
There's a lot of rural area in Frederick County, and yeah, but then it's also close enough to Northern Virginia. It's also there's lots of population here too, but it's a very diversified farming operation here.
Frederick County has a total of 762 farms with a market value for all agricultural products of $33.77 million. The major source of farm income is from crops at $24.6 million. Over half of that, $15.9 million, comes from apples, other tree fruits, and berries. Grains, oilseeds, dry beans, and dry peas, along with hay and other crops, add another $6.6 million in farm income. $9.1 million worth of livestock are also raised in Frederick County. The largest sector is cattle and calves, which bring in $5.8 million. Like many counties on the edge of major population centers, Frederick County farmers are having to adjust to new neighbors.
We have moved to where a lot of agricultural land has been transformed now into housing developments, and have lost that segment. And of course, with the need for more housing, that continues to be something that the ag in the area is dealing with.
But those new neighbors also offer new market opportunities beyond traditional crops.
Because of our proximity to Northern Virginia and DC populations, we have really seen urban sprawl here in Frederick County, again making it good for agritourism for many of our local ag producers.
The county's solid ground transportation network is a benefit to farmers in the area who want to sell to neighboring communities.
Interstate 81 cutting right through the county makes it an easy corridor to move products from one location to another. We also intersect with several other major highways, which puts us in a pretty prime position for transportation. You know, a lot of the larger industry has looked to this area or nearby to locate, but it also helps out with moving the ag products from this area up and down the road to nearby locations.
Phil Glaze can count his family's roots of Frederick County back to the late 1700s. His family has 650 acres and have been growing apples for 90 years. They've recently begun exploring hard cider as an additional product. He's seen the county change, but he's confident farming will remain important.
As far as dollars back to the economy and how far they stretch, agriculture is still extremely important for Frederick County, whether it's cattle or row crops. There's a lot of new agritainment going on. Farm markets are being developed.
West Oak Farm Market is an example of an agricultural property finding a way to successfully coexist with new neighbors. It serves as both a working farm and an agritourism destination. Behind the market, there are plenty of breathtaking views, blending mountains, rolling hills, and pastures. To one side, visitors can see workers in the pumpkin patch. Beyond that, a new school and houses surround the property. Scenes like this demonstrate how Frederick County farmers have often had to adapt, but longtime growers are not worried they'll be forced out.
Agriculture will still be here. The face of it may change. There'll still be apple orchards here.
Anyone that cares about keeping the food on their plate as close to home or coming from as close to home as possible, as far as apples go, will make sure that they try to buy an Eastern apple, and in particular a Virginia apple. They may not be as pretty, but the taste is going to be there, and you're actually going to be helping to keep a farmer in business when you try to source local produce.
The farmers of Frederick County are working to keep apple country alive in the midst of suburban growth, and they're confident that farming and farmers continue to be valuable members of their community. In Frederick County, Virginia, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
We're so glad you could join us to celebrate all the bounty that Virginia has to offer. From your kitchen to your garden to our wide open spaces, we're proud to say that this is real Virginia. So from everyone at the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching and make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.